Yo, what up, what up, what up, what up? Thank you for listening in and welcome to another episode. We're your hosts, your boy Pop,
your main man Ish,
Brittany,
your boy Joyce,
Castro,
and here is another episode of Ight. So boom.
How everybody weekend was?
specifically the weekend or a week?
The weekend, the week.
weekend.
My week was dry. I worked all week, but July 4th, the weekend was alright. Got to see some fireworks, hung out with some cool people, and then did a little race. A couple of little races.
Okay, I heard you
Who won?
lost.
I heard I lost. I raced against your boy DJ Joints. What car you was driving? The Jeep?
What I was driving?
So
the X3.
He had an X3
You gotta get
versus.
paid for this ad?
Nah.
No.
He had an X3 versus my 370. He thinks he won.
I did win.
Nah, he didn't. We have footage.
I was in the car. We got to our destination faster, so I don't know if
Oh no, you talking about today? Today we didn't race, did we? I just didn't go that way because the roads were screwed.
All I know is
Y'all got here before me.
Joyce is the type of driver that I hate on the road. Like he's the one that he'll pull up right next to you when the light is green and there's no space, but he's ready to cut you off. Like the one that when they pull up next to you, you just know, like, you motherfucker.
Oh, that's what he was doing.
There was two cars ahead of us, and there wasn't really any space for another car, but he decides he's going to squeeze past car number 2, and he was going to try to cut in front of number 1, too. If
The number 1 wasn't letting you?
I didn't have enough space.
There was really enough room for him to cut the way he did, so we're all just standing. I'm just like, what are you doing? And the light goes, and then he cuts off the second car, and then he's trying to cut off the first, and I'm like, oh, I hate you, nigga.
There you have it, listeners. If you ever driving and somebody cuts you off, scream out DJ Joints, and that might be this guy right here.
It could be.
What about you, Eddie?
Yeah, my weekend was trash. I literally slept. Took a nap today. I just got up not too long ago. I didn't do shit.
Just got ready for the podcast, ready to make moves.
Yeah, man.
Try to let the listeners know that we're here for them every week, you know?
So that's what you care about.
Because that's what we care about, y'all.
Yeah, I don't do shit all week, but wait till Sunday so we can request.
And those
Wow.
for y'all who don't know, I refer to him as Eddie, but his name is Castro. My bad.
Right, the most hated. Which is not a title I'm putting on him, but apparently that seems to be the way it's going so far.
Or the other way around.
The most loved?
No. He said his name is Eddie, but they call him Castro. I don't know where the fuck that came from.
However y'all want to put it. My weekend was cool. It was a calm
Nobody
week.
asked you about your week. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
It's cool. I was going to say it regardless.
Irregardless?
Huh? No, I was going to say it regardless.
But
And,
you said your weekend was cool regardless?
No, he said it was a reference to what he was saying. He said it doesn't matter.
I was about to say, the
regardless.
positivity is dope. That's the kind of energy I want.
But yeah, it was cool. Chill with some old friends, and that was about it.
I really didn't do, I pretty much did the same thing that y'all did. Yeah, I was with you guys. I also did some self-reflection.
It's always a good way to grow.
And that's about it.
What'd you learn?
Self-reflect.
What I learned, I don't think I want to say that right now.
Oh, okay.
Find out next time on episode 4.
Yep, find out next time.
So today is episode 3,
This is our 3rd episode.
right?
Yeah, we've been kind of consistent with this. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
We should make this like a 6-series thing and then have a season 2, or should we just make this like a?
Nah, we just gonna go with the
Guys
flow.
will keep going and going and going.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we made it this far. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I was expecting this to be like 2 episodes.
You niggas is inconsistent.
We are.
Alright, we niggas is inconsistent. Let's just say like that we niggas is inconsistent. And the fact that we made it this far is pretty dope.
Yeah, definitely. So, what we gonna talk about today?
You can talk about shit that's happened this week.
Oh,
yeah.
actually, since you said the word niggas, that's what you said, niggas?
Nigoose.
Nigoose?
Niggas.
Legoose?
Niggas.
You guys see that they're having a black Little Mermaid?
Oh, Black Little Mermaid. Yeah, I seen that.
Yeah. I'm hyped for that.
Why?
Cool.
I mean, come on, like, I not to say that, you know, I love The Little Mermaid per se, but the idea of taking some stuff out of its natural habitat and just like mixing it up is pretty cool, which allows them to even change the story a little bit because they don't necessarily have to follow the exact storyline of Little Mermaid if they change the character.
Honestly, I feel like the Little Mermaid should have been black in the first place. Let's think about it. Sebastian was Jamaican.
You're right.
Ursula's black.
Yep.
Her dad was hella tan, son. Like, like this
She could have been adopted.
This dude was either rocking the mean bronzer or
Caribbean
staying on the
people.
rock. Right, so what she doing looking so painful?
And she was the one who washed up on the shore.
I mean, her sisters, all of them was white as shit.
Oh yeah.
Nah, you're right. I never thought of it that way.
So, you know,
maybe Disney's righting their wrongs.
She should have been black all along, yo, if you think about it.
Oh, they should have just made a whole new type of
a whole new world.
Wrong with that.
Yeah, a whole new movie.
I'm pleased.
You're pleased?
Yeah, I was waiting to hear some.
Oh, you pleased to see
black
a black
power
girl?
shit, and I was like, you know what? I'm satisfied. I agree.
Glad I can please you, sir.
I don't know if
I'm gonna hit the pause for y'all.
See, why I gotta take it there? Did we not have this conversation last week about sexuality and whatnot? Like, did we learn nothing?
I'm just speaking for the guys who might take it there. I don't know.
I was having a conversation with myself in the shower about cultural appropriation and whether or not that shit is a crime. Is like as bad as everyone says it is.
Okay.
Meaning what?
Well,
I like how.
Is it really a thing? Is it even a thing?
Is cultural appropriation a thing?
How,
yeah,
like kind
of like hate speech.
You want to define this
first?
first?
Fucking thing.
So the listeners can know what we're talking about.
I mean, I can't. Probably we could look up a Merriam-Webster definition of what.
Yeah.
So
just
but I think that from what I understand, cultural appropriation is another culture. People of another culture stepping in and taking something from one culture and calling it
their own.
Either calling it their own or
something different.
Glorifying it with no credit to where it came from.
Okay. So what did you come to witness?
How is that even a thing? Like, if it wasn't for that same idea, we wouldn't have any cultures to begin with.
That's not necessarily true. For example, every culture, it has its own identifying markers. When I say Asian, just drop something.
I don't want
That's
to sound
significant. No, that's just significant to the Asian culture.
I don't want to say chinky eyes.
Kimono, right? No,
okay. Thank you. You said me. I was going to say Chinese.
Kimono.
I was going to say Chinese food. My bad.
A kimono it's Asian. It could be whatever. You're not gonna say a white person came up with a kimono. You're not gonna say a kimono is a white thing. Kimono. It doesn't have to strictly be Asian, but it is white. I don't know which person now is trying to brand the kimono as their thing. One of the
kimono.
Right.
I was just about to ask you, like, what is a kimono?
Waiting for that.
She's trying to.
What is a kimono?
It's an Asian attire.
Why do they keep
those little dress that's like
you
a flap in the front and a flap in the back?
The dress,
well,
a
not
nice
like
garment.
But more like they wrap around.
It's a traditional attire, right?
Oh, I know what you're talking
it's
about.
Asian, but now she's trying to. She's
trying to brand it
right as one of her thing, but it's kind of like branded in the way like the idea kimono was hers when inherently it's not.
Yeah.
That is cultural appropriation.
So is she going around saying, "Hey, look at my new invention"?
Yeah, she basically said this is like
what did she say exactly?
Undergarments for women that are like.
And she's calling it kimono.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the culture, has nothing to do with what kimono looks like. It's literally just because her name is Kim, and then she put Kim Ono. You know what I mean?
So she's stealing because she's stealing something that
name. Does it reflect? Does it?
But kimono stands for something that's a tradition from a
and you're rebranding the word.
What I'm asking is whatever she's selling, does it look like a kimono?
No, it's nude
like
lingerie.
Okay.
Oh, it's
I don't see the
lingerie.
problem.
Not lingerie. It's
Oh,
more
it's
like
lingerie, but they're using
Right, but
the
she's
material.
taking
It's
the
an
name
undergarment.
kimono
no,
by,
not even the material.
by saying kimono, and she takes it. If it becomes
Oh, she's
hers,
just taking the name.
right?
Yeah.
But if she takes
And
the
the name's
idea of the name
associated with an idea
kimono
already.
as hers, then that means technically Asian people will no longer be able to call their traditional dress that they've had for hundreds of years kimono anymore.
You said they won't be able to? What do you
If she
mean?
brands it as hers and she copyrights it. I think that's what she's trying to do.
I mean, Chinese people don't give a shit about her copy.
Yeah, I don't think.
Actually,
I don't
they
think
do.
that
In China, they don't give a
will.
fuck about none of that.
So
I think the idea.
But I don't think it would hurt like
The
the
Asian
Asian people.
It's, I
because
mean, maybe
it's
the
something
Asian people
that's-
in America, but
Well, it is because when you Google kimono, their garments come up, and now when you Google kimono,
where are you
her
googling
stuff-
kimono?
I'm just saying in general, like she's bringing to light this idea that this thing called kimono is this undergarment that she invented.
But like how, just to
But it is.
just to
It's
say
not.
this one
It's
thing.
not. The word kimono is
The
associated.
word she didn't invent, but the undergarment she did.
Right, so she's taking the word that has already has something that is invented. That's like me
It has
saying.
But then when you go on
Alright,
Google,
alright,
it's
so that's
gonna
like
get
that's
the
like
best.
me
You're gonna
coming
get
to you.
kimono, the Asian thing, or kimono. You talking about Kim Kardashian?
But if she's spelling it the same exact way, I feel in a
It's
sense she's
taking away.
devaluing one for the sake of another. Like there's tradition, there's history in something, and that is where cultural appropriation comes from. She's basically saying, "Oh well, this is just mine. Who cares about what existed before this?" If she was showing some sort of respect to it in a sense, maybe paying homage to it or respecting the things that already existed, fine. But by just saying, I'm going to call it this, who cares about what exists before this and what it stood for? That's devaluing everything that it meant for it ahead of that. And I'm telling you, it's not just like, a dress that Asian people wear. They wear it in very important things. It's a traditional
It's a
thing.
traditional-
It stands for something. I'm not the one to tell you who it stands for or what it stands for. But let's say I just came into your house and took something of importance to you and said, nah, it doesn't mean that no more. It means trash now. How would you feel?
You my shit. Like that's mine. That's
Yeah,
mine.
and that's
Right, well,
what they're
that's-
saying. That's
well,
the same
no,
argument.
No, I think that's different.
How?
Because anything that you name, the name that you've taken, unless you've matched together your own syllables or created your own word,
It's the same
it's coming
word.
from something. That's
Yeah,
like,
but this is a whole culture. This is a whole set of people. This is a whole continent that respects this idea as something that's traditional and sacred to
Do we
them.
have another example that we
Yeah,
could
that's
use?
like-
That's almost like, all right. So let's say you decided to get your tattoo, right? That's
Mhm.
on your arm, but you had a cult of people, and that tattoo signified your cult. So it's of importance and value to you, right? And your cult is a strong cult.
Okay, I
see what I'm
know
saying?
a better example.
Go ahead.
We could use flags.
Okay, the American flag. Let's say you
Yeah.
have the American flag, and you guys, it represents freedom, America, and all of its foundations and all that stuff. That's what it stands for. And then I come with my company, I take the same American flag, and I go, no, this means butt crack. This company is supposed to, exonerate this flag as butt crack. People are going to be mad. Like, no, you're taking something that is already a symbol. It symbolizes something else,
Yeah.
and you're turning it into something that it's not. You understand?
has meaning in China is big enough to be like.
So what if
culturally
I
appropriate.
believe they
Like
you
invented
did.
But that's what she's doing, and she does think that, like,
Yeah, but we live in America. Kimonos come from where did you say China?
Asia. I
So
just
Asia.
broad,
Yeah,
just
broad,
said Asia.
So if kimonos come from Asia, Asian people who live in Asia,
Mhm.
in Asia, the Asian people are that's the most popular demographic. For them, they're using this word kimono to hear that somewhere across the world, this woman who's famous in
Yeah, but
her
doesn't she have
country.
influence in
But
her?
Use the
you're
word
saying this like
kimono.
that this will not affect her.
'Cause her
There's
name-
no way that this is not gonna.
I don't think
This
it's gonna
is
affect them.
fine. Let's say this doesn't. But
Doesn't
how does
affect
this
them
not
at
set
all.
a precedent and create a slippery slope? What is stopping from just like, okay, well she took kimono from them. Like, listen, what can I do? Like something that's already existed. Maybe she didn't know the word. I'll go as far as to say when she first thought it up, she had no idea what a kimono was. But there's no way while trying to brand this and make it hers,
Do we know?
nobody came up to her and said, hey, this is what a kimono is.
Does she got like a trailer for it or something? Like where they say the
Yes,
name?
I
It's
didn't
for
look it up,
undergarments.
man.
If
Like
you-
I
you
just,
could,
this, I'm not gonna lie. It pissed me off, and that is cultural appropriation, bro. Or it's when Cosmo says this is the new hot look, and it puts white girls with braids. My guy, black people have been doing braids forever.
Who cares? Like, see, that's my
boxer
braids
or boxer braids, something like that.
Yeah, like Kim Kardashian wears boxer braids, and now
they're not boxer braids; those are cornrows.
Oh, all right, what I understand, but what I'm saying is, Kim Kardashian wears, she gets her hair done, and I guess is she calling these? Oh, this is my new style.
Yeah, she took it from this white lady who took it from this black lady.
Well,
I don't think she's gonna be able to do it.
There are people trying to stop her from being able to do it.
What I'm asking is,
she might have to rename it to something
I don't think
else.
she'll have to. Not Kim Kardashian. But what I'm trying to say is she saying, "Hey, look at my new style that I'm calling boxer braids"?
No, but there are magazines saying this new style of. That's the thing. They're saying it's something new, fresh, innovative.
Right.
And that's the problem.
That's almost like me saying, "Oh, I came up with this thing called iPhone. It's new, fresh, innovative." And for Apple to be like, "Oh no, that's okay." No, they're gonna be like, "This exists and it's already branded."
Yeah, and she said that she got it from this white lady. I don't remember her name, but she got it from this white model lady who's clearly stole it from the culture.
The kimono thing?
No, the boxer braids. The
boxer
quote
braids?
unquote boxer braids.
Here's what I'm trying to say about cultural appropriation. It's like somebody playing victim and then saying, "Hey, you guys over there who aren't really oppressed, you're a victim too, join my cause." Because the truth is, black people in America don't really have, like, if you take something from black people in America, it's like uniquely hip-hop. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're...
Okay, I see what she's trying.
If you're white and you're saying, "Oh, you know, hip-hop is our thing, and we've managed to, you know, paint a white face on hip-hop, and now generationally it becomes a white thing," black Americans can say, "Hey man, what the hell? We started this here." But the kimono didn't start here. All this shit didn't start here. If white people, Cosmo was probably run by white people. Kim Kardashian is a white woman. If right now in Asia, Asian people said, "You know what? Look at these new sheets and braids, and they're really cornrows in Africa or in America." No one gives a fuck, because in Asia they can call shit whatever they want.
Yeah, I think not calling it whatever they want.
They can call it
the exact same thing. They saying that they invented it.
What I'm saying is they can say this is the new thing in Asia, knowing that it came from Africa. But black people wouldn't.
That's the thing.
What I'm trying to say.
What you're saying is saying it came from Africa. That's giving credit. They're not saying it came from Africa.
I'm saying even if they didn't. What I'm saying is if they don't say it came from Africa, you know what I'm saying?
That's,
Asian people are doing
stealing.
their thing in Asia, and they're saying, "Oh, this new style, we're calling it blah 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 in Asia." No one in Asia wears this style. It's completely new to them. They can call it whatever the hell they want, no matter where the person who first wore it took it from. And if it spreads in that country, nobody else gives a fuck, because in Nigeria right now, they're not up in arms about Kim Kardashian going, "Oh, this is my new style." They don't give a fuck. I think black people in America give a fuck so much about what white people do, because they don't have anything that they can grab onto and just be like, "This is ours."
Why gotta be black people?
We're dominated by white people.
Asians are the ones that are offended the most about.
So are you? Is there like a rally of Asians that are like?
They're following
when I say
the whole Japanese government, I believe it's Japanese government or just the Japanese.
But she's not trademarking the name. She was trademarking the front for it, like how to write the word.
Yeah, like are the Chinese people like? Is China up in arms about what Kim Kardashian's doing?
I don't know about China, but Asian
in America?
Americans in America right now are pissed off about what she did, and
that's the unique thing about America.
Disrespected by her.
Because where it comes from, in China, they probably don't give a fuck. Well, whatever. I'm not trying to nitpick here. But where it comes from,
we're trying to make sure our correct, though, right? We've corrected you a few times now. Just keep it Asian or say
whatever
Japan.
it is. I don't give a fuck. If it's Asia, it's Asia. But whatever this is, whatever it is, the people there don't give a fuck. You have to give a.
I don't feel like you can say that.
I think that the people in Nigeria, they hear Kim Kardashian doing that,
owned.
Because Kim Kardashian would have to be popular in China. You see what I'm saying? For them to be like, "Whoa, this person with
it's a Japanese. It's a Japanese.
Have you never been to
thing.
China? How would you know she's
That's where the argument's coming from. She's
it's a Japanese culture that she's taken.
It's a Japanese. Is it Asian Japanese? So it's
Japanese.
a Japanese culture.
Yes.
And in Japan, people are rallying in Japan that Kim Kardashian in
if you
America.
see your garment that we use for traditional stuff,
No, what I'm asking you is, are they wilding over there? Are they over there like, oh my God, Kim Kardashian in America?
But we don't know that. All we know is that
on
the
social
Asian
media.
Americans in America are pissed off and feel disrespected.
And then whatever they
Okay,
tell you
so
on
that's
media,
what I'm saying.
which on
But
media they say.
why do they not represent the Japanese or the Asian
They
culture?
don't.
Why not?
A Japanese American up in arms over some shit that goes on in America
But
that's stolen from a culture in Japan. It's if you ask this is my belief. I believe if you ask a Japanese person versus asking a Japanese American, and you take a poll on whether or not they give a fuck about Kim Kardashian changing
You
her
haven't
name
answered
to
the question.
kimono, I don't think the Japanese people would give a fuck nearly as much.
Why
As
can
a
they still not
Japanese
represent
American.
the Japanese people though?
Because the Japanese people don't care. You
How
gotta
do you know?
Well, this is what I believe. I believe they don't care, and that's what I'm trying to
Japanese
say.
people do care.
So if they care, then that's another
Japanese
story. But I don't
Americans care.
think they care.
That's
They
enough
care.
Japanese people.
That's
Whether
enough,
they're
yeah.
Japanese American or
We're
Japanese,
in
they're
America.
Japanese.
I personally feel like America is the place where everybody has a pocket for their culture,
Exactly.
and everybody's able to say, "This is mine." And this is what I represent. So
Yeah,
if
just
somebody's
like
like, "Oh, well, I'm black and I represent Asian culture," it's just like, you know what? Whatever she's doing, whatever she's trying to do, like it doesn't make sense, and she should respect them and stick to whatever she knows.
And I
If she
think,
doesn't
I
know
think,
what
I
she
think
knows-
part of the issue is that here in the U.S. we recognize the word kimono for meaning something that's of Japanese
Yeah.
culture or Asian culture. So even in the U.S., the majority of us are like, kimono is this thing over there, and someone here is like,
She's
oh, no.
changing the name.
She's trying to literally, even now, she erased. Like if you go online and look up kimono, she's probably gonna pop up first now, because she made such a big impact
That's
by
the
that
thing.
alone.
Where is she gonna pop up first?
Probably
Just
on Google,
Google
where
search.
everybody's
Well, like,
I
looking.
don't think she's
But
gonna pop up first.
I don't think. I mean,
She should have
Maybe
popped
not
up third.
what I mean.
Third,
What,
like,
She
yeah,
should have popped up in the
exactly.
top
I
five.
just
What I mean-
Googled it.
She
She did
popped
pop
up.
up first.
She
was the first to pop up.
Well, what I mean is,
she completely removed the definition. Now it's
In America.
Yeah, but it's probably gonna be like,
If
okay,
it's
this is
trending
a kimono,
online,
but
it's
this is
trending
what
online.
also
Tough,
happened in history. Like she fucked it
you
up.
think that makes it do you think Chinese history will reflect that kimono?
in
which was
America,
once- in
yes,
America.
because look at what it's doing now.
We went
Okay.
to top stories, but top searches is a regular kimono, like they show kimono on women dress.
I guess
Maybe
and
if it gets
part
popular enough to.
from what I'm
to
seeing, part of the
surpass what
argument
kimono
is
is
that
in
you're
China,
making
in
the
America.
idea sexualized.
But what I'm saying is, Chinese culture does it like, for example, and salsa is an African love dance. Started in Africa. It comes from Africa.
I didn't know that.
Do you think the Spanish people?
I'm pretty sure some people are a little.
I'm sure
upset about that.
I'm sure the originators were probably like, yeah, we took this from Africa, and we're putting our twists in our music and all that stuff. But
yeah, but they changed it to something else.
now salsa is completely acknowledged as. Do you think that?
So what do you think will happen
Spanish
over time if Kim
I
was
think the
successful?
Africans in Africa are probably like,
Okay.
they're not screaming cultural appropriation.
They wouldn't have
It
known
means what
back
it-
then.
No, that's still back then. This
Yes,
is still an
this is
African
so-
love
No,
dance.
but yes. How many people nowadays know this? Like Britt just said, I didn't know this. I'm not saying.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
All right, but we live in an age of knowledge. We did not live in an age of knowledge back when salsa was stolen from Africa.
Right.
Wait, I'm sorry.
If
Yeah,
what do you
the
mean?
world,
What do you mean an age
You
of
didn't have
knowledge?
computers. You
You
didn't
have
have
everything
you
is
didn't
at
have
your
social
fingertips.
media to
Yeah.
Well, they probably
do
didn't even know that they were taking it away from
Yep,
them.
yep.
Most,
But what I'm saying
I'm
is,
pretty sure 85. I'm just gonna say a number. 85% of the people listening to this are gonna be like, "What? This was stolen from Africa? Like salsa?" If you before this conversation you told me salsa, I would have just been like, "It's Latin something." That's
Yeah, I
their
would have thought it
dance.
was Spanish, like
Right,
yeah,
Spanish
so-
culture.
If now even in our minds it's associated with it because they stole it and they made it theirs. If this information was brought up
back then.
back
with-
then,
Yeah, they
to-
would
yes,
not have let that
Africans
happen.
would have been upset.
Yeah.
They would not have been happy with it, and they would have tried to stop it. The same way right now, that's what they're doing. If Kim was able to make kimono hers, she was able to trademark the name. This would completely devalue what the actual kimono is.
to who?
To the Japanese
whoever.
Americans.
No.
Is what I'm trying to
No.
say.
To
Look at what you just said.
I don't think you're seeing my
You
point.
just proved that salsa that was taken from Africans became something that became for Latinas.
Yeah.
Once again, to who?
To everybody.
No,
Everyone
that
in the
matters.
world
I think Americans have this idea, and this is what I'm trying to touch on. I think Americans that live in America have this idea that what we think is common to the entire world. Like,
but that is common to the entire
Salsa
world.
to the common world right now is Latin.
No, it's not. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes,
like,
it is.
It's Spanish.
I remember when I went. See, this is popular. If you like go outside the country and you speak to the people, they don't feel that way. Like this reminds me of a time when I went to like South America and they asked me where I was from, and I said America. Makes sense? Makes no fucking sense at all.
Because it's South America.
Because that's South America. If you go to South America and you say I'm an American, yeah, I'm American, and after someone asks you where you're from, you look stupid, and they look at you and they literally laugh at you because you're an American. You're supposed to be the smartest country in the world. How do you not know that I'm also an American? When you stand in front of me as a North American, I'm a South American. Yes, we're all fucking Americans. The common practice for America is, I'm an American because I'm from the United States. You get what I'm trying to say? If you go to another country, they don't look at us like, they don't look at our beliefs as of value. They don't value our beliefs. Like, so if you go to Africa and they hear that, their African love dance is being danced somewhere else, and it's completely different than how we originated, they don't give a fuck. Like, Japanese people, like,
no, I disagree with you.
Here's my proof.
I heard a lot of interviews where people from Africa come over here and some of them don't like what they see, like how
they're portrayed.
How they're portrayed, of course, absolutely. What I'm saying is, you just mentioned an African that comes over here and doesn't like how he's being portrayed over here,
or how things of African culture is being portrayed over here.
Yeah, like for example, in Japan, they rap now, and they rap a lot. Like rap is huge in Japan. Most black people either know and don't give a fuck or don't comment, because at the end of the day, you're not subject to Japanese rap on your radio station.
They also
it's not
have
in your
and like they try to make their hair look.
But again, they do it.
Yeah, we don't give a fuck, and they don't call it afros.
Some of us do. I do care.
Y'all in this room.
See you, but that's the thing.
Y'all
That's why
really?
it has a name. It means
well,
something.
I don't
Well, I'm saying the meaning,
like rap and stuff to like a culture. Like, I mean, like,
because it doesn't change the fact that it
becomes an
originated
art
with the
form.
culture.
Yeah,
No.
But what I'm saying, that's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to say. It really is just
rapping.
a culture outside of your own country.
Right, and it's rapping. It's K-pop. All of those stuff. There's its own stuff. But to say we invented this, no, you invented this style of it. Mm-hmm. But for them to say we invented the idea of rap altogether,
that's when you have
that
the
is
issues.
where you're stealing.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. But what I'm
this
saying
is what we've been trying to say.
What I'm trying to say is the idea of the offendedness that the people take from Kim Kardashian saying, "Oh, my company's name is Kimono." She's not saying she invented this kimono dress. She's taking a name that she's not saying I invented the name. She's saying that I'm gonna name my shit Kimono. If it pops and the whole world goes, "Oh my God, Kim Kardashian's sick," and even if in China they start wearing kimonos and exactly, because they're Chinese and they have a choice. Japanese, and they have a choice as to what they're gonna allow in. As a Japanese nation, empowered by Japanese people.
Like you're talking Japanese people.
As a Japanese nation empowered by Japanese people, they have a choice whether or not they're gonna say, "Oh, that Kim Kardashian kimono shit, nah, we don't want that fucking up what we got going on." As a black nation in Nigeria or Ghana, they could say, "Oh, your boxer braids, keep that shit over there. We're gonna keep like you get what I'm saying. You control your nation."
I think
that's true.
In America, what you have is a bunch of people who aren't native to the countries that they say they're from. They represent. Like, we're Africans in America, but we're not African. So we can. Some of us are. Well, if you're African, you were born in Africa, right? So then you're not American. Either way, if you were born in America and you're saying, "Oh, I'm an American," but all that shit that y'all stealing from Africa, cornrows, that's our shit. No, it's not. You're not African. That's their shit. Now, do they give a fuck? That's why I'm saying cultural appropriation from who? Oh, they're painting, white people are showing Egyptians as white in movies, right? that's essentially a lie. You get what I'm saying? But they're white people in America making shit. White movie directors. They probably don't give a fuck. Like as long as they make money, they don't give a fuck. But generally, it's gonna be a bunch of white people watching it. That's where they're gonna get their money from. Egyptians don't give a fuck. They don't care.
Let me cut you off. All right. So if you was born here and your parents is from Panama, do you care about their culture?
Yeah, because I care about Panamanian culture.
Why?
Because I go back and forth.
You're American.
But I was raised in Panamanian culture. See what I'm saying?
So why?
That's what I'm trying to bring to you. Like, it doesn't matter if it was born here or born
here. Yes, it does. All these Japanese people that you said don't care.
Their
family.
Alright, so they were raised. So they're
they
raised
just happen to
Japan.
be born here, but their family is probably from Japan or
that came over here.
and their great grandparents from probably Japan.
You think the mom who
and their mom is like, here's a kimono, and she's like, no, that's not a kimono. It's this Kim thing right here, and she's like, what the?
Because she's American. Because she's American.
But
so if her upbringing is in America and kimono for her, the popular.
But your upbringing was in America, but you pay homage to your culture.
Let me just finish my point. Oh. If she's Japanese and born in America, and she's not first generation, she's born in America, and she hears kimono, and for her, kimono means Kim Kardashian's line of lingerie, and that's crazy. That's not crazy. That's just what she was born to believe that. You know, that's her association with that word. It doesn't mean that her association with that word has to be what kimonos are in Japan. She could very well go to Japan and be like, oh, this is a kimono here. Okay, cool. That doesn't mean she's going to give a fuck about wearing kimonos in Japan, and she's not supposed to.
That is a kimono. See, a kimono has significance. It has value. It's more than just a word.
To who though?
It matters. Your culture, bro.
But it matters to who though? Because what I'm saying, she could be a Japanese-born American that because what we're talking about is whether or not this thing becomes common, right? The people who make it common to them are people who enjoy Kim Kardashian's brand. So you can't tell them that's like a Japanese mom saying you're not supposed to enjoy Kim Kardashian's brand called kimono as what it is. Because you're supposed to enjoy it as what it's supposed to mean in Japan. She's not she's American. So she's American bred. I understand what DJ was saying when he was saying, "Oh, I am a Panamanian and I was raised with a Panamanian upbringing." For me, I represent a Panamanian upbringing in America.
Let me say what
but I'm talking about for the American. I'm talking about for the American that's
2 years ago, before Kim decided to do this, Americans recognized the word kimono.
Yeah. Why does that have to stop?
Because someone's trying to change the meaning.
For who, bro?
For everyone here and the people
so
overseas.
So let's take you for example. Mm-hmm. You view kimono as a Japanese dress, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. Kim Kardashian now makes a brand and she calls it kimono. Mm-hmm. What does kimono mean for you?
It's her brand and it's also the Japanese dress.
Okay. I see what he's trying to say.
What's the problem?
For Pop.
Hold on, let me just ask him. I want to see what his issue is.
Wait. For Pop, that is not an issue. Because first of all, he's not Japanese. This has no effect on his life. Right. Secondly,
so wait. So I want to touch on that.
After this, who does not know about both, they're only going to associate with one,
which would be what they learn here.
But if in his life, he's not wearing kimono dresses or doesn't give a fuck about kimono dresses, what difference does it make? Pops,
but there are.
Let's make it a black issue.
What creates cultural appropriation? Now he's gonna go around saying, "Oh well, kimono is this stuff that ladies wear under their clothes to shape them."
I don't know if I kind of get it, but let me see if I do. I see what Eddie's trying to say. Like, you know what the meaning of the kimono term is, or whatever how you want to say it.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if Kim come out with her line of clothing because you already know the meaning of the kimono.
Right, but prior to Kim coming out with the line, if I walked up to you and I was like, "Yo, I want to go get a kimono for my girl," you would know what I'm talking about. Now, if I come up to you and I say I want to get a kimono, you're gonna be like, "What you talking about? The undergarment or the dress?"
Wait.
That's where the issue is. Can you say that again?
You said
if I came 2 years ago before this was a thing, I came up to DJ and I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna go get a kimono for my girl." He would be like, "Oh, I probably know a spot in Chinatown." Mm-hmm. They'll go get a kimono. today, if I go, hey, I'm gonna go get a kimono for my girl, he'll be like, what are you talking about? The undergarment or a dress?
What's the
The
problem?
fact
with
that you have
is
to
it,
have that.
is this
Like,
is cultural appropriation about inconvenience?
Like I said, for us, it means nothing. It's not our culture, so we don't care if it's taken.
exactly.
That's why I was trying to say let's do this again with cornrows. All right, you know what
You'd have to
corn?
ask a female, and because I don't wear braids. I don't have braids. I've never cared.
Let's
I
stick
think
to your
we're
Panamanian
nit-
culture.
we're
Name
being
something from
nitpicky.
your... No, it's not. Let's pick
Pick
something from your
something from my
Panamanian.
culture.
I don't know your
Washo.
culture.
Washo.
What is
What's
that?
that?
It's just beans in a cup with rice and the chicken, all in one cup. And it's stirred together and you eat it
It's
all at once.
specifically Panamanian.
Specifically Panamanian. Well, let me not go out and say that.
That's
'cause
what your.
I'd have
that's
to
what your
research
culture-
the.
That's what
I'd
your-
have to research the background.
But that's what your culture
But
calls
that's
it.
what we call it.
Okay.
Let's say it originated with my culture.
It started in Panama. Some man in Thailand
Yeah.
does that. He goes viral. Well, let's check this new, great, innovative Thailandese dish that the Thailand people have created. It's their idea. He came up with it. Thailand gets the credit for it. Thailand makes money off of it. Thailand becomes rich and a superpower because of it in the end.
Okay.
No,
Go ahead.
I'm just saying,
Fine.
Thailand becomes a
Hypothetical.
superpower in the end. Yeah, just all hypothetical.
Yeah, let's go.
Why? You telling me this has no effect on Panama in any way?
No.
That is
It doesn't
incorrect.
have
Someone is
It's
not
not-
profiting
it's the whole
off of
culture.
you.
Let me.
Someone has profited off of something that you
And now they
created.
identifying with your culture as their own.
Okay.
They stole this from you. They monetized it, and they made it something that's already existed. This is like me coming in saying, "Hey, you have an idea for a show." They come in, they steal this podcast, they rip us off completely. They go put it on Ight Radio or something. I don't know if we can keep that in there, might blur it out or whatever.
They put it on.
They put it on Ight Radio. Exactly this conversation right here. They're just a group of people sitting around. They record this and they make money off of us.
And
That's
keep,
okay.
And they keep the name
Is
and all
that
that
okay?
stuff.
They keep
or they change
everything
the name.
exactly the same. They just record it, but they have
Different
the platform.
voices.
Not even or different. Right? Maybe
That's
different
it.
voices.
And they even copy the script word for word.
And
said everything.
they just
And
have
they
the
did that here in
platform
America.
for whoever.
That's
whoever
copyright
does it.
infringement.
We haven't copywritten this.
Okay, well, if we copyrighted this,
Might have to take that out.
that's copyright.
It's copyrighted.
That's copyrighted. Don't get like this.
I'm talking about as me as a Panamanian in Panama. And
But tradition isn't something you can copyright.
me as a Panamanian, exactly. That's the point that I'm trying to make.
But you know
If
it
me-
belongs to you.
No,
right?
it doesn't. Here's what I'm trying to say. Me as a Panamanian in Panama, putting rice, beans, and chicken in a cup, stirring it up, and eating it in Panama and selling it all throughout Panama as washo. First of all, I'm in Panama. I don't know what the fuck is going on in Thailand. But if I did hear that I'm looking up Thailand and I'm researching Thailand, or I take a trip to Thailand and I'm like, yo, there's eating beans, rice, all this shit in Thailand.
Oh, let me.
That changes the context
wait,
a little bit.
Well, let
How
me
does it
add one
change the
thing.
context?
Let me add
Go
one
ahead,
thing.
go ahead.
Before y'all continue, that's another thing that they're trying to find a solution to is with the whole trademark.
Yeah, you're looking for
the
an
whole
international
trademark-
copyright.
Yeah, a whole trademark
Can't
thing
do
on
that.
how the copyright is gonna work with culture, with things that
You
have
can't
like
internationally copyright.
Because you can't prove
cultural background
with-
on it.
with
So
washo.
certain words like that revolves around a certain culture. I don't think you're gonna be able to copyright it no more if they like. make
Okay,
it like
Yeah,
So,
but
let's
the word
say-
kimono is not an American.
It's
It's a
Ameri-
culture.
in
It's a,
America.
that's a
No, that's
part
what I'm
of a
saying.
culture.
Wait, you saying
Yeah,
all
yeah.
around, all across?
Tradition.
You saying
yeah,
all?
all over the world. Like
Okay,
if it's
so-
a culture thing, you might not be able to trademark it.
Okay, boom, all over the world, right?
Yeah.
Russians don't give a fuck about, like, if you tell the Russians they can't use kimono in Russia, they don't give a fuck. They're not gonna follow shit. China's not gonna follow shit. They don't give a fuck. So you can't you can't tell China right now not to be like, yo, basketball is just dumbass, these bomb ass chips. That's what it is. You can't tell them that, and it could become popular in
But I think
China.
that-
But we don't gotta eat Chinese chips in America. And it will always be basketball in America.
But I don't-
But it's basketball.
I think
out
when
there in
other
these
Russians
chips.
see you, they're gonna pinpoint that as a kimono. Like,
Yeah,
still,
Russians will
like,
see you and they'll be
it's
like-
still gonna have that meaning. Like
Yeah.
you're wearing a kimono.
Like,
Like
cultural appropriation can only be taken. You can only hold that standpoint in a nation where anything that you're trying to promote as your culture is shared. You get what I'm saying? It's passed around. America's a gumbo pot of cultures and religions.
Yeah.
But nothing, because you, like, that's like telling white people they can't say nigga that grew up in the hood. You get what I'm saying?
Why not?
Because what happens is if you tell a white boy that grew up in the hood that he can't say nigga, you're fucking up his psychology.
No, but I think that's where parenting comes in.
But you know, your parents don't shape your psychology. If you white, let's say you was white, right? And you grew up with us.
But imagine if you said it in front of your parent and they caught you, they'd be like,
I mean,
use
but
that word like that's.
But let's say you're outside with your friends, and this is you spend most of your day with your friends or at school, and you're white, and
I think somebody. You mean
your friends are white or black?
You mean amongst
your friends are black. You live in.
I think one of the black persons is gonna tell you like.
Don't say.
Maybe you'll run into it. But the example I'm trying to give is, let's say you're white, you live in the hood, and all your friends are black, and you go outside. And you probably have an idea that nigga is their word because you don't hear white people around you saying it, but they keep telling you what's good, my nigga, because you chill with them, you act like them, you move like them, you think like them, and you keep telling them, yo, my nigga, and since he's a kid, you telling him, yo, my nigga, my nigga.
Like, yo, I know I'm not supposed to use that word. Right?
Probably because he's older, but if he was like raised into that, and he starts,
I don't know,
he eventually goes,
yo,
yeah, my nigga, but that's how he's taught to show love. He's taught to show love by saying, yo, my nigga. Eventually, he's going to be like, he's going to slip up. Let's say he slips up. Yeah, word, my nigga. And he says it.
Yeah,
Bro, you going to jump him now?
He get checked. He don't get jumped, but they check him.
But what I'm trying to say is,
it's dumb to say somebody can't say nigga and then call them a nigga.
Nigga all day. All I'm trying to say is, I get it. We check him. That's just what happens. But a natural progression of just words and culture would mean that it just, especially when it comes to environment, would mean it just flows into every fucking person that lives in that area. White people will eventually be eating jerk chicken. Black people will eventually be straight in it. It happens. Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
Everybody's going to eat everything.
Words like kimono gets thrown into the air, right? In an American culture, in American society.
But that's different.
Let me give my example. Yeah. A word like kimono gets thrown into the air in an American society. Kim Kardashian hears it and goes, not only is this word fly, but it has my name in it. That's dope. It breeds inspiration. Pop has a company called Cypress Studios. I associate that shit completely with photography. But that shit is about a butterfly. Doesn't change the fact that for me, I was like, yo, Cypress sounds fly. Don't ever change that. But it doesn't change the fact that somebody once named that based on a butterfly.
But what they named the butterfly? Cypher or Cypress Studios?
Cypher being a butterfly it's a butterfly. It doesn't have any cultural significance to anybody.
Yes,
Cypher to whom?
It has cultural significance to the people who named it that.
No, that's a word. That's not cultural significance. That is a word to somebody that you know could be the butterfly.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's a word.
But it's not cultural significance.
Yeah,
it
does have cultural significance.
To whom? To which culture?
That's like the whole Richard Feynman thing all over.
We're asking you.
So when you look at a bird in the sky, what is it?
Bird.
Okay, no, it's not, because if you go to China or in Spanish, they have a completely different name for it. If I go to China and I go bird, everyone's like, "What the fuck is he talking about?" They don't even know where to look.
In English,
which means it has cultural significance.
The word bird is you're saying what it is. It's a bird.
That's not what it is. That's what we call it.
But it's a bird in English. You go to Haiti. It's a zwazo. It means something different, but it translates into bird. And whatever it is, it's just bird, but it's not cultural significance. It's the word that's a translation. Kimono is the one word. It does not exist anywhere else before this conversation. Kimono was just the one thing. You look up bird and you'll get a variety of birds. And then you look up that same word in a different language and it can be something else. Kimono was only just kimono. It did not mean anything else. No one else would look at it as something else. And in other languages, when they pointed to it, they would say, not to be offensive, I'll just say to Krill since I'm Haitian, oh, sasai kimono. That's how you refer to it. You wouldn't say, sasai, oh, and then we'd have a word for it. When the word translates like that in many languages, that is a cultural significance.
I agree.
It was the word kimono in whatever language you say it.
Yeah.
If I'm speaking Spanish, ¿Dónde está kimono?
Okay, but there's words in Spanish that sound a lot like an American word, but has a completely different meaning.
But see, if it has different meanings, I'm not talking about different meanings. I said the word kimono only had the one, and it could be traced back to one place. By her trying to take that and making it something else, that is where you're stealing. You mentioned before things just gradually sifting into other things and becoming other things. That is fine. But there is still a starting point where all of it came from. As long as people recognize, hey, look, at one point or another, it started here, and they respect that, that's fine.
Which is
I think
what
as long
most,
as
hip hop artists do. They always
I don't think they
shout
do
out-
that at all.
They always shout out past people that mentored them or past people that were the greats. They always pay their homages.
These young kids have paid no homage.
I'm not
in
talking
my
about,
opinion.
I understand. And I'm not talking about the mumble rappers, and even one or two mumble rappers I've heard pay homage to the people, and they were, up for debate. But with hip hop, people pay homage to the past before they, tread on a new trend. Just to compare it with you.
Well, that's selective. That depends on the person. But what I'm saying is, like, as a whole, as a country, when you live in a country where there is no Native American. Well, there is a Native American, but that person, this country is a mix. Is the majority of it is a blend. And in a country like that, when words are getting thrown around, that's ideas being thrown around.
Is
And
there
if
another word to-
you're going to draw inspiration from every culture. And if this was a small business, I believe that if this was just John Doe who's trying to start a small business and started it up and said, yo, this is what this is going to be, like, whatever, he was going to call it. I don't know. I don't think he would have gotten so much flack as Kim Kardashian is. I think she's always associated.
John Doe wouldn't have been able to do it.
I think that's relative again. But what I'm just trying to say is that I think Kim Kardashian always gets associated with cultural appropriation because she's white and she grew up hanging around a lot of black people and she dates a lot of black people and she's always around black people. So anything she does that's black, and even if because I've seen sometimes she'll do something and they'll throw that label at her even if she doesn't claim it as her own. She'll do some shit and people around her or Cosmo will be like, look at Kim Kardashian sporting her brand new style that's black, but Kim herself will never say that this is something that she's doing as her own. She's just rocking something that she thought was cool, and then they'll paint her with cultural appropriation.
Our discussion on cultural appropriation. So right now, what are we talking about? Are we trying to define it? Or?
I think that it doesn't. I think. Well, you know what?
After
having this,
it doesn't.
let me say what I'm. Let me say what I want to say. I think that after having this conversation, I think what I would say is it doesn't exist outside the world. I think cultural appropriation is something that exists in America, where it's a country that just has a bunch of mix of other countries in it, and it's just a bunch of people trying to fight to hold on to.
The only place where they have pockets of different cultures.
I think in America, what you have is a bunch of people who are fighting to hold on to identities closely, because everyone's identity is kind of getting stripped from them over time as they live in America.
From each other.
Not just that, but my grandkids won't know shit about Panama, but they might try to hold on to some sense of identity as they look in America and go, where do I fit in? Because there goes Chinaman, there goes Italian man, there goes Little Italy. What's my identity? And I think people trying to hold on to their identity, not really knowing where they come from or what their background is, have this issue where if they see anything that resembles what they take pride in, it's time to attack. But I think that America just needs to eventually accept that everything that we do in here is about what we do in here, and it's gonna mix and it's gonna meld. They say in 2050, most Americans will look light skinned.
So you feel like cultural appropriation is only a problem in America?
And not only is it only a problem in America, but it's a current. It's only for a certain time period. Once everyone in America starts to get used to that idea, accept that we're just Americans and we do our own thing the way we want, that shit will phase out, and it'll just be like, yo, yeah, everyone does.
But people from other...
That's what free speech is.
But people from other countries has a problem.
If they have a problem, and if the Japanese guy goes, yo, they're naming that shit kimono in America, and let them wage war and go, yo, for that name, we'll wage war on what you do in your country. And let's see how that works out. But I don't think there's, as far as I know right now, there's no such thing as international trademarks. Well, I don't think there are. Like, you can't tell a Japanese person what to name his business regardless of what the name has in another country. You get what I'm saying? You can't go in there and start, unless he's trading on the global market, you can't really tell him shit. So I don't think other countries are gonna give a fuck.
Agree,
What about-
disagree?
What about
I
the
think
ones?
that's a
Um,
follow goal.
Yeah, I disagree with Eddie's idea.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from.
I think
but
cultural
I don't think I
appropriation
can
deals with
disagree
it
or agree.
globally. It's a global thing.
Yeah, do you think cultural appropriation is a global concern? Do you think people in Egypt give a fuck?
I think it is, because if it wasn't, the Japanese wouldn't have written a letter to Kim to say, "Hey, what you're doing."
The Japanese,
Yeah,
like
but
the
how many
country?
people
Yeah.
Was it the
actually
entire
do
country?
that?
Did the country get off the map
Doesn't
and write it?
matter.
Like, I want to
One
know
Japanese
who.
person from Japan is enough. You said anyone in Japan. One person is enough. We can't have all of Japan write to her. I mean, we
Okay,
can't
if
even
that's what
have
happened,
50%.
then
A
Percent.
representative from Japan.
No, but what I'm
Just
asking
reach
is
out.
how many cultures are coming to America like, hey, don't do this because
Yeah,
this is what
I don't
we
see
have.
that.
You know what I mean?
I understand that, but that doesn't change the fact that that's not an argument. That can be an argument that
Well, yeah,
people are
I'm
having.
not saying that it's
And
not.
we can't
I'm
speak
just
for all
saying.
countries because we're not there, but we can speak on the countries
So
who
then
have
can
you-
spoken up, which is Japan in this case.
Yeah, so
And
then
they
can
have
you agree
said-
with Eddie?
I would
right?
disagree, because why would Japan reach out on some cultural appropriation
Or any
shit?
culture is what I'm saying. Like any
Or, like-
culture caring about whatever we do here.
I think a
I think
lot
we
of cultures
we
outside
care,
of-
but we
I
don't
wanna
really.
see that
do,
letter.
we care, but we don't do nothing.
I mean, of course, because like I said,
It's just a feeling of I'm offended and that's it.
that's where it dies. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is.
I still
I think if the Chinese, let's take some shit from Chinese. That's where I think we could really
Or
test
Japanese.
this. We could test it with a country that can do some shit when that happens. I want the Chinese to like get offended over some shit that we do here, and brand them with
But didn't they do that
With
with
what?
that movie?
what movie?
I forgot what movie it was, but it was with the Asian president, and he was offended, and he wanted to start some kind of.
Well, yeah, you
war.
make a movie about the president, like you're insulting me personally. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that's me. Like I own my identity. You know what I'm saying? But if it was like, yo, what's some shit the Chinese people like? Oh, our New Year is now the Chinese New Year, and that's what the fucking New Year is now, and it represents dragon. Like, let them do that in America and see if the Chinese people like. Nah, they can't do that shit. That's not right.
Well, let's
And
wrap.
you don't think they won't? Like, you legit think if we stole an entire New Year and stole the Chinese New Year and everything that it stood for with all the celebrations, China would just sit back and be like, okay, yeah, they can have it.
It's not they can have
we're
it.
not-
It's
and we're
still
not-
gonna be ours. It doesn't change. They're just now gonna spread China.
Right, no, that's it.
Mandarin
No,
is
you could
they're
just, you could
saying.
just have it. No, we're not taking Mandarin. We're just taking the New Year. Understand? In cultural
No, I was gonna give
appropriation,
an
we're just
example.
taking the best, what we want from it.
Yeah.
And we're just taking it. We're
It
still going to
happens all
speak
the time.
English. And people need to say something or else things get lost.
But do you think that was the way the world was before? I think before, black people, especially black people coming from Africa, they put culture all around the world. Like Japanese, the original Asians were black. The black people went to Europe and gave them culture. They gave them all the things, a lot of the things. They probably adjusted, but black people went and put culture in Europe. Black people taught, what are they, the something with an M. But the black, the
Moors.
they went to Europe and they installed culture. They gave it, they put it there. And then Europeans did what they wanted. And they did the same thing in Asia. The first Asians were black. They did the same thing in South America. The colossal heads that you see in Africa are also in South America. The pyramids in Africa are also in South America. It's all over the world. No one sits down and goes, yo, the South American pyramids, them shits were African. That's some bullshit. That's just what it is. You get what I'm saying? They took pyramids and now the South Americans have pyramids. Colossal heads.
And it grew. That's not taking an idea that's fundamentally in one spot. This is, you said they came. If I leave here and I go to 30 places and I drop my same ideas in 30 places, nobody stole it. I gave it willingly, and this is me putting my mark on each place. However, if you come here, you saw me do kickflip 50,000, and then you went back home and said, oh shit, look at this shit I created and did kickflip 50,000. You stole that from me.
Yeah, but
you took something that was mine and you're now making it, saying that it's yours. Whether you make money off of it or not, now the world is like, oh shit, look at this thing that Castro did. And that is the problem. You never said, oh, well, I came to Ish's house and I saw him do it and then I did it and now I've either made it better or made it different in my own way, and now this is why my version is better than his or whatever it is. You're just saying this move started and ended here.
But that's not what y'all saying Kim
That
did.
is
Y'all
what
saying,
cultural appropriation is.
y'all
And
saying
that is
Kim
what
with the
Kim
kimono
is-
thing.
Right, but the point I was trying to make that you kept cutting off.
I didn't cut.
You've
Like,
cut us
go
off many
ahead.
times.
No, I
Many-
sat here. Well, we'll play it
cut me
back.
off just now.
I made sure I was aware this time around.
You
Let
cut
me
me
make
off
sure
just
I
now
didn't.
still again.
I don't.
The point is, when you brought up Latin and how it was salsa and how it was not stolen, or whatever the word you use, how salsa was originated in as an African love dance. The world, for the majority, associates salsa with a Latin root.
Yeah.
That is what happens when cultural appropriation is left alone. Kimono now is not a big deal because it's 2 seconds in the media. Had Kim Kardashian had her way, though, 50 years down the line, kimono, the traditional dress that Japanese people have spent hundreds of years cultivating, could have disappeared in the history books, and kimono would have just been associated with Kim Kardashian.
I think that only happens when you
sexualized item, which is completely opposite from what kimonos actually stand for.
I think that happens when you steal the history books, and I think that's like everyone in this room is African. And I think this is a uniquely African issue. Like, and this is just my belief. I believe that the history books in America can very well popularize kimono as Kim Kardashian's line, but if the Japanese treasure kimono and they don't give a fuck about Kim Kardashian, it stays kimono for them, and they'll just sit in the Japan where they live and where they thrive, and they'll go, yo, in America, kimono
what's
is like
the point
this
of us learning
brand,
global
not-
history?
Huh?
What's the point of them teaching global history?
I don't know why they teach a lot of shit they teach in the public schools. That's
But
a
global
conversation for
history
another time.
is the reason why people know kimono, and
I think they
why
teach-
other
okay, you
people
want
know
me to answer the
other
question?
cultures and stuff like that.
I think they teach global history in America because there's people all over. You have to represent the entire America,
The cultures.
America, and because people in America are all over the globe. But in Japan, people in Japan aren't all over the globe. They might learn about Africa, but they don't learn about. They probably learn about the slave trade because of how it changed the planet. But they don't sit back and learn about like
But
So
Well,
things
I
of
wouldn't-
American
Well,
African
we won't know
nature
because
in
we
Japan.
used to be not students
In Japan, yeah, we
Yeah.
won't know. But what I'm trying to,
unless we ask somebody who's a student of Japan.
I'm just making the point that
let's
you have to care if it's if
let's
it's
say
put in
Japan
front of you.
cares.
If
Like
they
you
don't,
said.
if it's not put in front of
I
them,
just
they
want to
don't
interject,
care.
listeners, if you guys can enlighten us, if you're from different cultures outside of the U.S. and you're learning any of these history things, do y'all learn about American
Or if
history?
we're wrong, please definitely feel free to
Yeah.
correct
Or do you
us.
feel like does it matter for you to learn other cultures?
Let's
Is it
say
important?
Japan is the only place that cares. Like you said, it's the only place that cares. How is that okay that the rest of the world now associates kimono with Kim Kardashian, and Japan is the only place that's like, no, but wait, this was ours, and it's not okay. Like
The rest
literally,
of the
we're
world-
the only ones saying, wait, this is ours. Like, and that is why it is cultural appropriation. When it gets down to it, 50 years down the line, 100 years, however long it takes, Japan is the only one saying, wait, no, kimono is ours. It started here. This is us. This is our identity. Everyone else is like, nah, F that. That's that Kim stuff. That is what makes that's what makes the problem.
That's if that's happening. Like for example, I see it two ways. It's either
That's how I'm saying it would have evolved and it would have became.
you're giving a hypothetical. What?
This whole conversation is a hypothetical.
Well, people scream at cultural appropriation, so it's not the idea is not a hypothetical, but the idea that Japan's history gets lost to the world is a hypothetical because we first have to assume what's popular in America and what's common in America is common to the rest of the world,
She's
which
a
it
global
isn't.
Brand. You keep saying it as if the only Americans know Kim Kardashian's name. She's a global brand,
Yeah, she
dude.
is.
You
The
say
reason
Kim
it matters
Kardashian's
is
a
because
global brand,
Yeah,
Yeah, she's a
like
global
as
brand.
if they play her on the news in Japan. They
Keeping
don't.
up with the
Popular as
Kardashians
in
is
Japan and
Because
global.
she went out there and sold her
Keeping
product
up
in
with
Japan.
the Kardashians is global. It is made in many languages. It is shown all over the world.
You cannot say that. You can say what, like, you can pull up a list of the countries that air Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
That's what makes her global.
That's fine. She has to get up and go place and make arguments to the Japanese news channels where they air TV, and go to Thailand and go everywhere and go to those individual countries and say, I'd like for you guys to show my show. I'm Kim Kardashian. Who the fuck are you? I'm just some popular girl in America. Okay, so why should we air your show? It's entertaining. Okay, cool. So we think this is funny. We'll air it in our country. Cool. They're making a choice to say, this is some shit we're going to show in our country. It gets popular in their country. Oh, that's the American Kim Kardashian chick. Translated in Japanese. That kimono that she's selling, if the Japanese people in that country go, yo, that kimono shit, fuck these kimono dresses that we have in our country. That's what's popping. Then kimono becomes, okay. Which is not cultural appropriation because the Japanese people accepted it. They said, yo, this is
what you said. You said they didn't accept it, and I'm sticking with that argument.
Let's say
Japan decides F that, and they cut off everything to do with Kim Kardashian. They cut off her show. Cool. They cut off everything to do with her. I said the rest of the world. I didn't talk about Japan.
Exactly. So if Kim Kardashian gets her show into Thailand, right?
Okay.
And she gets her show into Thailand, and she goes, yo, and Thailand goes, yeah, that's some entertaining shit. And then Thailand goes, yo, Kim Kardashian, also that girl that we like from TV, let's make some extra money. Let's go popularize her kimono dress or whatever in Thailand. If Thailand decides that this kimono shit that Kim Kardashian is doing is profitable and they want to accept that kimono culture from Kim Kardashian,
shit.
Huh?
That's not even the point.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Let him finish.
I want to address what you said.
Yeah.
What you saying?
I'm just saying, like, how it's going to be profitable if it's already existed, I mean, for, like, everybody to wear.
How is it going to be profitable? Because Thailand's going to accept the product and then sell it to their people. Also, so they're going to generate money. But what I'm trying to say is, if Thailand chooses to say kimono from Kim Kardashian is our culture and completely shun away Japanese kimono.
Thailand never heard the word kimono before.
Then that's Japan's job to take what their culture is.
They cut off everything. Remember, we
so
said
if
they don't care.
Japan's cutting off everything, then like I said, for them they don't give a fuck. That means that someone from Japan to come to America and then go, yo, nah. It's either you give a fuck or you don't. But either you're spreading your culture to the world or you're not.
But
if Thailand chooses
not, though.
Okay, so if they're not, then they shouldn't give a fuck if America goes, okay, well, because let's take it as a global state. If you're not sharing your culture and you don't care if the rest of the world gives a fuck about it, then when in America or Thailand or Guinea decide to go, yo, kimono is Kim Kardashian shit, it shouldn't make a difference to you because you don't give a fuck. You don't care to spread your culture around the world. So for you, kimono will be dressed. That's it. That's all you care about.
Now let's say they make
cultures for whoever is
adopting a Channel 13 episode on educating the masses, and they play it all on all the channels. You watching it?
Who in America?
Everywhere. They make a PBS special. I'm just using PBS because that's what. We're explaining the history of it, the value of it, the year it started. Not because of this conversation. I'm talking about in general. You woke up today and you turn on the TV. You putting on the educational channel to find out what a kimono is.
I'm just saying, like, if it's in the topic of like Kim kimono is already out.
I'm talking about you just woke up today on a regular thing. It's a regular day. You woke up and you just happen to turn the TV on and you just watching kimonos. This isn't happening 2 years ago.
It depends on how they're gonna sell the trailer to me.
There's no trailer. It's just special. Yeah, it's just something that turns on. It's no trailer for it. It's nothing exciting. It's all educational. It's just about the history of the kimono.
I might leave it on while I do something. Okay. And if they say something,
Now let's say you have this foreign person who gets into all these weird antics and doing all this crazy stuff. Like, well, why does she get into it? These are your two options. Just for whatever reason, your TV's broken. There's only two channels. Yeah. Which one do you watch?
Oh,
the entertaining one or the educational one? It's fine. You can be honest. If you just say if you say the educational one, still that'll be whatever. My point.
I think I'm well, shit. You said if it's just another show with just a whole bunch of bullshit on it.
No, he said one is entertaining and one is educational. One's entertainment, one's education.
It all depends on my mood. Like if I want to intake information or do I just want to listen to something and laugh and.
No, I understand. I wanted to say earlier, you guys do realize that part of the argument from at least the Japanese side is that kimonos again is something that has been spread culturally throughout the world. Like
everybody
the world
knows.
Understands kimono is a cultural thing. The world understands what it means to wear a kimono. The world understands that kimono is the type of garment that
and that's the reason why this is a big story.
And this is why, and the mayor of someplace in Japan. I was just reading up on it.
I don't
They
think
had
he'll be a
letter.
mayor, but
It said mayor. It said mayor. It said mayor.
oh,
He wrote a letter to her, and he didn't use the word cultural appropriation, but it was basically like, yo, this has a bunch of history behind it. This has a bunch of idealisms behind it, and you're changing the narrative to something completely opposite. So we'd like to keep it the way it is. So fall back, basically.
If that's what a mayor in Japan, that sounds so unlikely that he would do
Would you
that.
like
But
to
if he,
read the letter?
nah, he could very well did it. But that just sounds like some stupid shit to say. Like if you're a mayor in Japan, and you're all the way in fucking Japan, like
Because
and
you
hear
care.
in America.
Also because the United States is pretty influential for the rest of the world.
And then
Yeah, like saying something like that makes more sense. Like saying
and I don't think
United
it's about United States. It's about how
You just
influential
said they
Kim
didn't care about
Kardashian
it.
yeah,
is.
you gotta look at
Because
it from a
what
different
I'm-
perspective.
Yeah.
The other perspective is that you have this woman
You
playing.
talking house, bro? Like you
Yeah.
have literally spoken the most.
You have this
Alright,
woman
if I have
playing
to,
in your culture,
I'll
in
stay
your
quiet.
country.
I'm
Like
not saying
everyone
stay
knows
quiet.
about Kim Kardashian, and whether it's because she came to you over there and got a contract for your TV. Everyone understands this is Kim, and they understand she's some type of American figure. So she decides to come out with this thing that rebrands something that your culture has value. Of course you're gonna want to say something. Of course you're gonna be like, hey, that's not okay, because the people are subjects. Though if we decide today to cut you off, they're still going to use the internet that we provide in our country to Google you because you've already made yourself relevant. You're an influencer. You understand? So at the end of the day, I think it's cultural appropriation. I think countries outside the U.S., they do have these moments where they're like, hey, that's not okay. Y'all need to give us some homage. I need to pay respect. And if y'all changing the narrative, don't change the narrative because this is what it is.
I agree
Period.
with that.
I disagree. I disagree because I feel like that's like the mayor saying, hey, keep that shit over there. Our people will fall for it. Like, it's either your people treasure the shit for what it is or they don't. If I bring Kim Kardashian's kimono to Japan, if I bring Kim Kardashian's kimono to Japan and then the people go, nah, this is the new kimono, that means that shit didn't have as much value as you said it was, and they want the new culture to change to whatever Kim Kardashian is selling.
Yeah, but
The culture is truly Kardashian.
his argument is not necessarily strictly to Japanese people. His argument is that you're changing this thing that we've established globally. And we can't also control what's happening globally, but you're influencing what's happening globally. I can only talk about my country and what we hold value. And I would like you not to take this thing that we've spread it to Germany, to Indonesia, to Africa, that understands what a kimono is. I would like you to not tarnish the name.
Does he know? Does he recognize us as a capitalist
Does it
state?
matter?
Look what I-
The beginning of your argument was if Japan doesn't care. He's telling you now Japan cares.
This
Someone
is him.
in
His
Japan.
opinion.
It's not my opinion, I'm telling
But
you.
it's
No,
still
I'm
actually
not
in
talking about
Japan.
you.
So if one person in Japan cares, it's likely to say that a couple of people care. You started this conversation by saying only Americans care. If one person in Japan cares, even if I'll go as far as to say it's just the one, and all the however many people in Japan don't, it's the one. Does this not give your argument? Does this not invalidate your entire argument that no one in Japan cares though? And
No.
by doing so, how does that not? Your
Because
premise was that nobody in Japan
my-
cares, and this one person proves that they do. That alone should make you be like, okay, well, seeing as they are part of the culture and she's doing this, that one alone should be enough to be like, you're stealing my culture.
Okay, so
Because they live it. Sorry, go ahead.
I feel like culture is fluid. I feel like we come up with like every word that you've ever heard was derived from some other language, and cultures just change. Things adapt, things flow, things change, and it's dependent on your environment.
So you
If
don't.
my environment is not in Japan, then Japan has no bearing on what it is that I do in my environment. So if this shit is salsa over here, Africans and Nigerians can't wage a war saying they could do whatever they want. Let me shut up.
So you're saying that you never seen cultural appropriation?
You remember he said he doesn't
No.
think it's a real thing.
I believe it's a. I believe
Have
it's
you
a.
seen it?
It's a thing. Obviously, it's a thing. What do you mean? Have I,
I
seen
mean,
it?
have you recognized
Yeah,
cultural
Yeah,
appropriation?
I recognize what people call cultural appropriation.
Also, I
But I'm
don't.
saying-
I
I
don't
think
think
if the people,
I don't.
Like you don't recognize it though.
I recognize when I acknowledge what people mean when they say this is cultural appropriation. You know,
Yeah, I understand
they're
that you know what
stealing
people
our-
mean, but I'm
but
saying
I don't-
as you,
I don't-
like, if you've seen something being taken place, would you understand like this is cultural
I
appropriation?
wouldn't feel the gravity of it like
or you would
most
have been
people
like,
would.
I don't feel it because.
Yeah, I don't. I would be like, I don't feel it because for me, when I go, if they start saying, oh, if America starts calling, make a washo, and they start calling it whatever it is. Me as a Panamanian in America, I'm either doing two things. I'm either saying, no, America has to acknowledge Panamanian culture, which it doesn't, because it's a melting pot of cultures. Or I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, as a Panamanian, I don't care. But in America, like, it becomes an issue because I'm a Panamanian representing America, and then we're just like, no, that's our shit. No, that's not your shit. That's our shit. And we're just pointing fingers, even though we're all raised in a mix of cultures.
Is
like,
Aki a different word in any other country?
Maybe they call it something else in another country.
You know what Aki is?
Yeah.
Oh, Aki, like the Aki, the fish.
I was actually gonna bring that up too.
It's supposed to be like a fruit, but something that Jamaicans cook, like Aki and saltfish.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But do any of y'all use it in a different a different language when referring to it in a?
No.
But we don't use the word Aki. We use something else. But that's to further the idea that you have a specific word that symbolizes something.
Yeah.
And I was gonna also say that I don't believe that every word has come from someplace else. Because the word Gwynnin, for example, that was a made-up word here in New York. Like Gwynnin.
Gwynnin is like
a DJ made it up.
Yeah,
grinding
but it's
and
almost
winning.
like you winning.
You grinding and
So-
you winning. It's a made-up word.
So, but for me,
It doesn't exist.
it has a cultural background, because if you hear the word winning and you hear Gwynnin, that means kind of like, and it has a similar meaning, especially if it has a similar
But you
meaning.
wouldn't know without context that gwinning is grinding.
When you said
gwinning,
when you
grinding and winning.
I never heard this word before in my life, and you just said it, and I had a feeling it was A, some Brooklyn shit, B, it had to do with winning.
Mhm.
I was still sitting here trying to figure out where the G came from.
Okay, right.
But it doesn't change the fact, even if I couldn't make that conclusion on my own, we could all agree that it sounds a lot like winning, and it sounds like it has the G from grinding.
Mhm.
We can make a connection and go, oh, that's like winning, except, all right, cool. Winning came from all right, cool. There's still an origin.
But you see how you were able from that word to go, oh, it has this Brooklyn thing to it. It came from, that's what you said.
Yeah.
So when people say kimono, they go, that's a Japanese thing.
Okay. That's
When
fine.
now someone else is like, nah, that's not Japanese, dog. This is a sexual undergarment.
Okay, because that's what that means to that person. It's now, Kim Kardashian has now taken that and made a name for her brand.
That's the problem.
I understand what you're trying to say, that's the problem. What I'm saying is, that's if you believe that America should be this place where everyone's trying to maintain their individual identities and protect them.
I'm just
in
trying
this,
to see how you're gonna grow up. Like,
Right,
just
because
have
American
kids.
it's not
issue. We
about-
just told
it's
you
not
When you
about
have
one day
kids,
you're
do you
in
pass
Japan.
on your
It's not-
tradition, or you just let them go out in the world and grow
That's
up
a
with their
that's a
own
great
Words-
example. That's a
words
good
are not about
example.
belief,
Mhm.
though.
All right,
Huh?
DJ just said, if I have kids, am I gonna teach them my tradition, or am I gonna let the world teach them the tradition? Right.
Yeah.
My parents tried their best to keep me a Panamanian Haitian kid. But they got Americanized. They started going to white church. They started doing things that were white.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of what I was taking from them, what I was trying to hold on to, because what they started trying to teach me, I went to school, and what was American flooded that. Hip hop culture and all this slang and all this shit, it's not in the countries that I come from, but it just became me. And it's a combination of white culture, Spanish culture, Chinese culture. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I just got blended into what I am today. What I am is nothing like a Panamanian or a Haitian. It's those are some of my building blocks.
Yeah.
But my amalgamation is a sum of what it means to be American. I'm an American. As much as I would like to say with my Haitian and Panamanian flag, that I'm an American. I'm what it means to be an American, and I represent that by my Nike and my $500 watch and the way I talk and the way I eat, and that's what makes me American. Because in Panama, they don't eat the shit that I eat. You get what I'm saying? The mix is what I am. Kimono, all that shit. It's the pot mixing, and people are trying to stop this pot from mixing. Not realizing once you mix
That's
it,
not
you
what they're
can't
doing.
unmix
That's
it.
not what they're
That's just what it is. Like,
That's not what they're doing.
I feel like we're a gumbo, but trying to maintain our key, like
That's
trying
not
to
what
keep the
they're
key
doing.
ingredients separate. You get what I'm saying, and not letting the flavors really mix, so it could just make.
But she's
this
not
one
mixing.
thing.
That's not what they're doing.
She said her name is Kim Kardashian. She heard some dope shit in Chinese culture, so it's a combination of Kim and some shit she heard in Chinese culture, and she
Japanese.
thought that was Japanese culture. Excuse me, and she thought that shit would be cool. So now she's naming her brand Kimono.
She stopped after she was told, but that's
Because
still not.
she realized that Americans were offended.
But that's still not what they're doing. Cultural appropriation isn't.
What's the definition?
We're growing into this, and it's happening naturally. It's I stole it, I took it, it's mine. You just said you named a bunch of cultures now. I have my Panamanian culture. I have my thing. You can specify what each culture was based on something from there. Now, you said you in turn, therefore, made it something new, and now when you pass that on to, let's say, your child, that's not cultural appropriation. What's cultural appropriation? Let's say you're whatever identity you have, whatever culture you have, now you pass that on to your child. That is not the cultural. That is not stopping the melting pot. The melting pot is Asian comes, a Russian comes, or whatever comes. America takes all of that in, and then people take parts in them. They associate with them. They know what they are, but they can, at the end of the day, still say that is Asian, that is Russian, that is Japanese. That does not stop the melting pot. What stops the melting pot is when someone clearly not of that culture goes in, takes it, and makes it theirs.
That's essentially what all that is. Like if
you're stealing it, I'm saying taking it. I'm not saying you're incorporating it. There's a difference. I'm not incorporating it and making it part of me. I'm stealing something that is clearly someone else's, and I am giving it off as my own. That is not the same as incorporating other things and acknowledging it came from somewhere else.
Let me ask you something. Let's say the word kimono. Well, because let's be real. In Japanese, the word kimono is like it has it's a word in there because if you were blank and had no language, Japanese, the word kimono would be associated with an image, a visual, which would be like a dress, right? Okay. Let's say the word kimono never existed. Do you think, if not Kim Kardashian, maybe eventually down the line, if she kept naming her kids Kim or kept inspiration close to the kid, you think eventually the name kimono would have came up as a thing?
The word kimono never existed.
Eventually,
it's a possibility,
yes.
Just like Gwen never existed, and it was made
exactly
up.
Like if you name someone Kim, and
but
there's also someone named Bono, and Kim and Bono get married, you might eventually find something like kimono. But it doesn't change the fact that Bono is maybe a name in America, and Kim is a common name in America. The idea is that you can still find these mixes without having to say, oh, let me pay homage, like, because that's just essentially what the definition is. It's making sure you pay respect.
And that's the thing. That's not what she's doing. That's not what she did. She just took it. Kimono, that is mine. It has nothing to do with any Japanese thing. It's not. I'm paying any respect to Japanese thing. It's just the kimono idea.
Underwear,
mine.
garment.
Yeah. If she named something, so you're saying if she named something kimono, which is what she did. If she named something kimono, because even if it has nothing to do with anything Japanese. I get the name. It's also something that's in Japan.
That's the thing.
The name is also something that's in Japan. But let's say she what she did, she essentially said, this is my company, it's called Kimono, and it's about lingerie. It's not about what they're doing in Japan. You're saying that she has to then say on her company webpage or whatever, oh, by the way, there's also a thing in Japan for anyone, because I didn't know what kimono was.
You say the word kimono originated from
do you feel like she has to?
She wouldn't have to, because Japan would still reach out to her and be like, hey, this is associated
I'm not
something.
asking that.
The word itself, no. The word
I'm saying,
itself.
do you feel she should have to say, hey, look?
I think she just shouldn't use it. If I come along and I start naming things, I'm from Haiti, I just start saying, that's Haiti, and I point to a dog. Or I better yet, I start referring to garbage as Haiti. Like, not saying her stuff is garbage. I just take it completely out of context from what it is. And I'm making this the worst possible example, but just because I understand that. I point to garbage and said, that is Haiti now. That is what Haiti stands for. This is what Haiti is. Now, every time people start referring to garbage, oh, that's Haiti. In
America, we call garbage trash.
I'm just saying, right, but I'm saying this carries on. I have influence. And that's what she does. I have influence over people. So now people start referring to their trash as Haiti. Remember, the whole point of trendy stuff now is that something can go viral like that. I make some relevant or irrelevant ass video and it goes off. A million views overnight. People will start doing stuff just because. They will look at it and they will start calling trash Haiti. Even if they don't understand the language, they'll get the gist of it. So now they'll start referring to Haiti as garbage. As a Haitian person, even as a Haitian American, or let's just take a regular Haitian person, would not be happy with that either.
I understand that that correlation. Like and also understand that the idea of you can steal something that you see, name it your own thing, and call it,
And
pass
that's
it off.
what it is.
I understand that that's what it is. What I was trying to say is that it only has like the reason it has more gravity in America because of the fact that everyone's trying to protect their home. They're trying to fight the integration as best as they can, and not really just accept that people are drawing inspiration from your culture all the time. And I feel like the kimono thing is a slippery slope because her name is Kim. You get what I'm saying? It's a great play on words.
Then change it. She didn't. She stole the.
Have to change anything.
Make
It's
it a
free
Y.
speech.
Kimono. Kymono. They can't say nothing.
You can't. That her name is spelled Kim. She shouldn't have to.
Could have just called it Kimoni.
She doesn't. That's what I'm
But
trying
that's
to
what I'm
say.
saying. You're saying
The
inspiration.
The dodge to block
Inspiration.
your creativity.
That is not true. If you were truly
I'm
being
just-
inspired, you would find a way. If you had to, Kimono, you'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna make it KY, or I'm gonna make this a 0. She copied a word that had significance somewhere else entirely. That's not inspiration. That is theft.
You never know what
Let us try
words
to
have
wrap this up.
inspiration in another place.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's
Inspiration and theft are different, bro. In my opinion, I'm just saying, you know.
Guys, we got a lot of content here. As you can see, we're still at odds, and we're split down the middle.
Are we?
I guess
nah, like
Do-
like
do you
the way it
agree?
always was. Like my
Do you
opinion is
agree?
Man,
that
she
brand,
said she didn't
man.
feel like it was
I hold on to
appropriation.
my opinions. Like
No, I definitely think it's
cultural.
I believe it's a cultural appropriation as well.
Wait.
I'm just saying. I think what I'm trying
Okay.
to say is that cultural appropriation is only an issue in a country where your culture isn't the dominating culture.
Yeah.
If this episode offended you, or you just have to respond to something you heard, hit us up on IG at IGHSoBoom, and feel free to email us at IGHSoBoomPodcast1@gmail.com. That's IGH